How is Kevin O'Leary investing in the AI boom? Today we'll hear from the Shark Tank star and get his top picks in everything from stocks to crypto. Plus, we'll find out why he's making a big investment bet on Canada. So let's get started. This is Ticker Take.
John, today we're going to hear from veteran investor Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, Caroline, I've known Kevin for a long time. I've never seen him this excited about his investing roadmap.
Yeah, and he's going to share that roadmap with us coming up, as well as his investment picks. But first, we asked him to explain what it takes to be a successful investor.
I think the analogy that best suits it is back in the Gretzky era. You've got to be where the puck is going. I mean, you have to skate to where it's going to be, not where it is now. That is the essence of investing, because the majority of the gains in a sector or a stock or nowadays crypto included occur when you see the first light of disruption. And so, you don't have to bet the farm on it. It's just that the majority of your returns are going to be that you got there first, understanding that change is coming. It's the great analogy. You've got your head on the rails and you hear the train coming at you. Well, that train could run you over unless you understand what it means. And so that's what I think my team has gotten really good at. It's taken decades, but we really, really, really try and figure out what's next. And there's nothing wrong with owning the index, but if you want to make, 20x, you got to be at where the star is being born. And Nvidia is of this, recent times is a good example of that. You would have thought that was just making graphics cards only 4 years ago in high-end laptop computers, unless you understood what was happening in AI. And that is a good example. I think everybody understands in looking back. Now, it doesn't mean you won't make money owning Nvidia, but the majority of those incredible returns have come and gone.
So Kevin highlighted how important it is to know the trends. But how do you make the right picks? How do you know the next Nvidia?
Yeah, Kevin's response to that? You have to know the management team.
When I'm looking at a new technology, a new company, a new opportunity, I simply call the founder and I sit down with them, and 99.9, well, I'd say 100% of the time, they'll take the meeting. And I say, look, I have a singular reason to meet with you. I'm considering investing in what you've created, and I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I want to understand, what your vision is and what your strengths and weaknesses are and who your team is. Great leaders, and I've told this story countless times, and I learned this back in the 90s when I worked for Steve Jobs. He said great leaders, great managers are able to distinguish the signal from the noise. And I'm looking for the same thing. You can tell pretty quickly whether an individual has the ability to focus on signal, which are the things they have to get done to advance their mandate, versus the noise, which are all the things that stop them from doing it. And that's really been a good way to look at it. When I find these managers and I put money to work, I'm betting that others will see what I see, but I got there first. And that's because I do the work. I don't do stock tips. I don't do, some guy calls me up and says, you got to own this. I never do that. I meet the horse. I fly all around the world and I meet the horse. And I don't believe in stock tips. I believe in understanding exactly what you're getting yourself into. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When it works, it pays for all of your mistakes times 1,000.
Okay, Kevin explained how he invests, but let's find out where he's investing.
Yeah, well, he's big on AI, but he sees it through the lens of digital payments. Remember, he's been talking about crypto and the blockchain for a long time. He thinks some of the new policy changes in Washington, like the Genius Act, are a big step on policy that opens the door to more technology and more investing opportunities. Have a listen.
I was recently at a presentation at a tech conference in Singapore, and it was a mock Shark Tank with engineers for blockchain technology. I was blown away. These kids are in their late 20s, early 30s, geniuses, all kinds of different engineers. But the world that they were painting, very simple, and they were prototyping, is a world where you pick up your phone, you're right beside a donut store or a burger joint or a restaurant to pick up whatever. You just pick up your phone, you say, Big Mac with fries and a chocolate shake. That's all you do, because it's geolocking where you are. It sees that the burger joint is right beside you. It uses AI on the chain to send the order in, a digital payment system simultaneously, and 20 seconds later, you walk in, they know it's you because it's off your phone, and you pick up your order. No app, no work, nothing. And the only way you can do that is you're crashing AI into the blockchain, into digital payment systems on financial services, all coming together at once. The amount of power you need for that, the amount of speed on the blockchain, all of the things that make that simple thing occur on your phone are incredibly complex, and there's a plethora of investment opportunities inside there. I'm more excited about that than anything else right now. This is in a remarkable time that's occurring, and investors that understand this are going to get an incredible return on their investments.
With all that said, Kevin's going to walk us through his top investing ideas, including AI, power, crypto, and ETFs.
Yeah, let's walk through each of those individually. But first, this is not financial advice.
Investing idea number 1, AI stocks.
Well, in Kevin's view, it is hard to ignore the big semiconductor companies that have been fueling the AI boom. Here are two names that he's watching.
There's two stocks that you could hold, AMD and Nvidia, that would get you into the infrastructure of AI, because those are the two right now that are sort of leading the charge. And you're going to get decent returns from those because, 2 years ago, AI was hype. But today, it's now clear that it's being used in all 11 sectors of the economy and proving to be productive and margin enhancing. Not some sectors, all of them. I don't care whether it's real estate down to financial services. Everything is adopting AI models one way or another to reduce costs and enhance productivity. So that trend is not going away.
Investing idea number 2, data centers.
Well, we've talked about investing in this area before on Ticker Take. For Kevin O'Leary, investing in data centers is part of a very ambitious plan, which involves expanding in Alberta with a project that at some point investors might be able to participate in. Here's Kevin again.
You've heard a lot about AI in the last 6 months, and a lot about data centers. And right now in North America, the demand is for 45 gigawatts of data center, under which only 5 have been permitted and are under construction. So you got 40 gigs worth. That's nearly $500 billion worth of investment. Where's it going to go? And the common denominator for all of it is the power. You can't build one without the power. There's no power left on the American grid. You can't go get a gig anywhere. Where is all the power in North America? Canada. Hydropower on the East Coast, nat gas in Alberta. Nat gas in Alberta. Alberta has 6 times stranded gas in the entire United States. So where's the puck going on data centers? It's going to Alberta. And so if you're an investor, you start thinking about that. And that's exactly what I've done. I have 13,000 acres under contract right now in Alberta around Grand Prairie. Why Grand Prairie? 6 trillion cubes of stranded gas. People don't understand what a huge opportunity Canada has to lead the world in AI through one metric: power, sub 6 cents a kilowatt hour power. And the only other countries that have that right now are Finland and Norway. And guess what? I'm invested there already because that's in my BitZero portfolio. I'm all about, 5 years ago, I was looking for where can I get power at sub 6 cents a kilowatt hour, US. And where is it? It's in Nordic countries and Canada.
Investing idea number 3, Utility stocks.
Well, given O'Leary's power thesis, it's no surprise that he's tracking utility and infrastructure stocks, including one in particular. Here's Kevin again.
If you want to start picking stocks, power companies, power utilities, and companies that are building infrastructure around data center. You know, and there are plenty in Canada. Is at a new renaissance right now. It's right on the cusp. You could also buy Brookfield Infrastructure.
Investing idea number 4, the Canadian dollar.
Well, because O'Leary is betting we're going to see more investment into Canada because of the AI boom, he's not only investing in the Canadian stock market, he's also investing specifically in Canada's currency. Here's more on that.
The way to play that, frankly, the most rudimentary way is own the Canadian dollar, because during the period of the idiot king, there was no demand for the Canadian dollar. Sovereign wealth was not buying it to invest in Canada. Even Canadian pension plans weren't buying in Canada. Even now, they're not buying in Canada. They invest everywhere else because of the idiot king. But he's gone. And he's busy bankrupting Katy Perry right now. I mean, so that she better get a prenup. Sorry, I can't help myself. It's just... But the guy had zero executional skills. Like, I'm just telling the truth. What can I say? So the point is, Canada's back, or it could be back, and I'm betting it is coming back. And I'm a proud Canadian. I can't wait to catch this trend, because power is it. It's power, 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 power. So the way to play that, if you're an international investor, you're going to buy forward the Canadian dollar. I have purchased a bunch of Canadian dollars, and I have taken them out of the euro, the Swiss franc, and the US dollar, and bought a basket of Canadian dollars. I am bullish on Canada. And the reason the Canadian dollar is interesting, you can get 3-point-something% yield on it right now while it's just sitting there. And it is truly an index on the amount of sovereign wealth that will come into Canada pursuing power, because they're going to have to trade in Canadian dollars for goods and services here. That's the play. It's very simple, very low risk in my view, and I think it's going to serve you well over the next 3 to 5 years, assuming that Carney does his job and reverses the policies of the idiot king.
Investing idea number 5, crypto.
Well, it's not a news story that Kevin O'Leary is investing in cryptocurrencies. What is new is that he has trimmed his portfolio to some core crypto holdings. Here's more on that.
You don't need to own 27 tokens in crypto to get exposure to the market. I'd argue you just need a few positions. And so I've taken down my holdings, which used to be I had 27 different tokens, down to just a few. And I'll tell you what I own. I disclose this. I own Bitcoin, obviously. I own Ethereum. I own Solana. And I own USDC, which is a stable coin, just to do transactions. But missing in that portfolio is what's next. And so I know that Solana and Ethereum are not going to provide the high-speed transactions for financial services, inventory management, and the ordering technology I talked about on your phone. The concept of crashing Wall Street into AI, into blockchain, that portfolio misses that opportunity. I'm going to have to find another chain that's way faster. So that's missing from that portfolio. But that portfolio right now tracks 95% of the volatility of the crypto market without owning 27 positions. And in the case of Solana and Ethereum, I get yield. So I'm getting, some distributions. And on the USDC, I'm getting a 4% return paid to me in USDC on a monthly basis. So that's my crypto portfolio.
Investing idea number 6, crypto exchanges.
Well, just as O'Leary has been an investor in crypto, he has also been an investor in crypto exchanges, including WonderFi, which is being acquired by Robinhood. Here's more on his portfolio of crypto exchange holdings.
If you're going to own the gold, you might as well own the companies that make the picks and shovels. And that is power and the exchanges. So WonderFi in Canada, about to be acquired by Robinhood. That's my biggest exchange holding in Canada. I own Coinbase. I own Robinhood. That's the infrastructure of the exchanges.
Investing idea number 7, stock market ETFs.
Well, whether it's the S&P 500 in the US or the TSX in Canada, Kevin O'Leary has a lot of investment money in the indices themselves that represent the stock market for a simple reason. In his view, it is very difficult to beat the market. Here's why.
I don't trade stocks. I look for positioning for long periods of time, and I don't try and time the market because, as every investor will learn the hard way, you can't. And if you've noticed lately in all markets worldwide, is the majority of the returns in any one 12-month cycle come in a matter of 4 or 5 days. And you just don't know which ones. There's a lot of vol up and down, but the recovery periods are sharp on the sell downs. And so you got to stay long. So the only way to do it is to balance it. I'm 70% equity, 30% fixed income right now, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. I encourage people, including my kids, my son and my daughter, challenge yourself. Buy an index. Buy the XIU in Canada, for example, or the SPY in the US. I use a derivative of the SPY called OUSA, which is the higher quality S&P 500 companies that pay distributions, but it doesn't matter. Put $1,000 in one of those, and then you try and pick stocks for 12 months and try and beat the index. It's so important for you to do that to yourself, to prove to yourself you can't beat the index. It's almost impossible. And there's many, many, many managers that say they can, and maybe they can for 24 months, and then they get slaughtered. It's really, really hard to be a stock picker. It doesn't mean you can't own individual stocks, and I do, because I invest in private companies that go public, so I end up owning their stocks. But the lesson I'm trying to impart, having been doing this for a long time, and I feel now more of a seasoned investor, is the core holding is the index. And then you add a little je ne sais quoi around it if you wish. But you can't beat the index. It's really, really hard. And you don't have to. You don't have to try.
And investing idea number 8, Canadian bank stocks.
Well, at the end of the day, O'Leary is a big fan of having different holdings that make up your portfolio. So even though he is betting on technology that could disrupt traditional banking, he is still a large holder of bank stocks, specifically Canadian bank stocks, through ETFs.
In Canada, I own the XFN, which I think is the Canadian banks, and I own the XIU. And that's my Canadian portfolio. And I own a lot of it, like a ton. And I've owned it for years and years and years. I remember getting into the XFN, working with Amanda Lang. That, I was picking my own stocks, and you know how she's so critical all the time and squawking like a chicken. And she said, "What are you doing, you idiot? You can't pick one bank over another. Just buy the index, the XFN." And she was right. She was right. Thank you, Amanda Lang.
All right, our thanks to Kevin O'Leary for sharing his investing ideas. We've got more on Kevin in our description.
Where you can also find more information on Ticker Take, from our free investing newsletter to the podcast edition of Ticker Take. And please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next investing video.
See you next time.
Stay wonderful.
Oh, I get it.